Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to the Aha Moments Radio Show for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened living worldwide with your host, Mariana Cooper, founder of Aha Moments International and AhaMomentsWorld.com. Tune in for the next hour and learn to trust your aha moments to lead the way to live a passionate and purposeful life. And now here's your host, Mari.
Worldwide. I'm Mari, and happy Tuesday. I cannot believe my computer has crashed. I cannot see anything on the board. It's unbelievable. It's just like crazy. And it's kind of apropos it's kind of reflecting the energy that seems to be going around. It has been absolutely insane. I don't know if you've been feeling it, but it has been really, really crazy energy. So we're going to talk about that today. And as I was working last night, I was thinking to myself, I kept saying to the guys, what is this show? Hello, we have to put out an email about the show, and it's like in 15 hours, and I wasn't getting anything. I just wasn't getting anything. And then it finally hit me, and they said, we need you to do a global group, like a group clearing and activation for money magnetism in the Akashic Records. And, people like to jump to money being their issue, their first and foremost issue. But it's not usually, it's actually really a symptom of a whole lot of other issues. And so we are going to get to that. But I wanted to talk today about some of the things that we're all going through with everything going on in this world right now, and to help you to recognize that if you are having any kind of slowdown in your money situation, it's many times it's always energetically connected. It always has to do with your own level of self-love, your own level of being willing to receive, your own level of being willing to take action in your world, and then also just how you are what I call metabolizing your energy. So when we open up the records a little bit later in the show and do our activation and, clearing, it's meant to be a magic trick. I know a lot of people like to get on my show, get a free reading, get a little tidbit, and then kind of run with it, almost like, people go to church on Sundays and they sit there for an hour or two or three, depending on what your religion is, and then they kind of forget about it during the week, and then they come back for like another feeding session. And so what's important about this work is that you are tackling it on a daily basis, or not even tackling it, that you are incorporating it into your daily living on a daily basis, moment by moment, step by step. This is a lifestyle. It's not a lunchbox, It's not something that's just, a snackable, okay? This is your main course. This is your meat and potatoes. And once we get through talking about some of this stuff, then when you do something like an activation or clearing or, one of these bigger, many of these modalities have these big things going, where you can do this kind of, like an Akashic record reading and all this kind of stuff. When you do that, you actually get results from it because you're actually maintaining yourself along the way. So I think it's important to, and yes, Sam, I can see that. I can see it on my phone. I don't have Skype up on my computer. I can't see that. Sam is just asking me a question, and I'm literally having to work the show from my phone. So I think it's important today that we, talk about a few things, because as you go into the holidays, that's an issue as well. So let's talk about a few ground rules. Is ground rules the right word? I guess, yeah, for lack of a better word, ground rules. and some checks and balances for you, and then we'll get into our call for the day and our meditation. I think we're going to do our meditation, our clearing last today, because I want you, once you get off the phone, you'll be kind of loopy, and I don't want to deal with loopy people when we're dealing with our questions for the day. So if you'd like to call in and ask a question, you can call in at 347-215-9485. That's 317-245-9485. Sam, just Skype me and let me know if that's the right number, because I usually am reading it off my screen, and I believe that's the right number. I think after having 400 episodes, I think I know that number by heart. Okay. And so you can call in and ask your questions, and then we'll get into our group thing. But so let's talk about a few things here. First of all, what's going on in our world right now? I recently posted on Facebook, I think it was last week. I have 3 Facebook pages, if you didn't already know that. And the first page is my personal page. And many of you are on that page. I have close to the limit. I can't say, I'm pretty selective now, because I've gotten down to, so few spots left before they put a hold on the page. So, but it's very, very active. I'm posting a lot throughout the day just because I like it, not really because it's a business thing or I'm trying to, inspire the world or anything like that. It's a place where I like to play, and I kind of burn off, stress and whatever. And on that, a couple of days ago, I guess last week it was, I wrote a post about overwhelm. And what I said was, this last shooting that we had here in California in San Bernardino compounded. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. And there's been so many mass shootings. There's been more mass shootings in America this year than there are days in the year. And that was really, the statistics started coming out, and it was so compelling. And, it was so heartbreaking, really, to see, just how much strain and drain there is on our country and on the world at large. I mean, then, we had the Paris shootings, and then we had the San Bernardino, and then there was all the churches and all their shootings. It was just goes on and on and on and on. And what it does, when we see that from afar, there are certain things, and I know most people are like this, there are certain things that you can kind of hear about and kind of be in it but not of it. You have your defenses up enough that it doesn't penetrate your world. You're still like, wow, that's deep, that's terrible. And you have empathy, but you're not like crumbling from it, And so, and then there's other things that just cut through all your defenses, and they just make you stop. And maybe you cry when you watch the TV, or maybe you just feel this sense of like, almost like an earthquake within yourself, When it starts to come in multiples, right? So it's not like, we all know we're going to have some disasters during the year, and some of them are local, some of them are regional, some are national, some are international, and there's a certain threshold. And then there's this thing that pushes that threshold, and then there's the thing where it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And if you notice, and I always said this to one of my friends who's very political, as we get closer to an election year, a lot of stuff comes to a head, because a lot of different organizations, both nationally and internationally, start to push their agendas. There's a lot more propaganda. There's a lot more, pushing of issues. There's a lot more acting out, a lot more demonstration, because everybody's pushing for that next political leader to kind of be on their agenda, right, or not. And so as we're getting closer to our election year, we were just dealing with the political candidates in the U.S. has been excruciating and exhausting. Probably in my lifetime, I've never seen it like this. And then on top of that, several of our candidates are really promoting agendas that encourage hate, encourage, xenophobic behavior that create, and then you've got, the opposite side wanting to fix everything kind of in one fell swoop. And so you have a lot going on, and it doesn't matter what political affiliation you're with, this is just compounding energy. So how does this affect your money? Well, when you start to put up walls, because what you're seeing is painful, okay, what you're feeling is not being able to control your world, because we worry about our own personal world. Are we going to be able to get our kids? Are we going to be able to, from daycare, are we going to be able to, feed our families? Are we going to be able to keep our jobs and all that kind of stuff and have our businesses thrive and all that? As we go through those things, we have certain walls that we have up so that we can focus on those specific things for our own individual world. And then we watch the news or we get it on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and it starts to push those walls. It pushes those walls and it pushes those walls. And you start to evaluate, okay, what thing is going to affect my day-to-day? Which thing? Okay, well, if that's happening over there, then maybe, that's not affecting my ability to go get the rotisserie chicken today, pick my kid up and have dinner, at 6 o'clock. What's happening now, though, is affecting that. People are walking around terrified of other races, whether it's, Muslims or, Southern Christians or, blacks or Hispanics, Mexicans, gay, lesbian, whatever it is, people are now questioning everything's coming closer and closer and affecting people's day parts. You're no longer able to keep your defensive kind of armor around you the way that maybe you were before, because now you're talking about shootings in schools, shooting at the workplace. There's so many compounding issues. And people talking about taking away rights for your own body or, charging you so much more money in taxes because you were extremely successful. There's so many things that are affecting us on a very personal level. And when you have to get to that level of defensiveness and you, one, start to feel like you have to get your hackles really high, you have to get your shields really high, that blocks energy flow, okay? Two, then you have to, my computer is like just going, it's like blinking all over the place. So two, you have to keep your hackles very high, you have to defend yourself. Two, you start to worry, right? You start to worry. Who's that? Does he have his hand in his pocket? Well, if I go to Trader Joe's, am I going to be safe? If I go to the movies, is my kid going to be safe in preschool? Who's on lockdown? This stuff compounds and it goes, and it starts to escalate, and it compounds 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 and it compounds. Okay? And what happens is you block. And when you block at that level, you're blocking flow altogether. Blocking flow altogether. And money is the existential, physical representation of flow. So you will see that you might have more hiccups than usual. You might have, things that were supposed to happen that don't. You might feel like feast or famine. You might feel like if you're in a more of a steady type of job where you get a paycheck one way or the other, you might hear of rumblings inside. You might be getting more anxiety from your bosses, more dissension amongst team members because people are all metabolizing this stress in various and sundry ways. You get panic from companies. I know I was in corporate America for many years, and I was an executive at, certain parts of my career as a vice president of a promotion agency, and, I was an executive consultant, marketing consultant, and all kinds of stuff. And I saw many, many companies, big Fortune 10, companies, Fortune 100, Fortune 10 companies that would, during political election years, and like the year, 2 years, back then it wasn't as long, it was like the year before an election. It wasn't as long as the cycle is now because the cycle is extended because of the amount of social media we have, so people are more involved so much earlier, and it's much more intense, which is something I'll get to in a minute. And so what we have now, though, is a a crescendo of anxiety, a crescendo of feeling out of control. And when you have that, what happens is you have a stop in your own energy. You start to question. You start to worry. And that worry gets in the way of your flow. So that's one piece. That's our present issues. Then you have your past issues, things that, maybe you're feeling shame, blame, guilt, worry about, anxiety, your debts, right? Student loans, all kinds of things that, were from your past that haven't necessarily resolved. Okay? And then you have what you've inherited from your distant past, which is inheriting from your family members. And this is where the Akashic Records come in. This is one of the reasons why I think, the guy said, let's do this in the records today. When you have, we have two types of lineages. I've talked about this in the past. We have our energetic lineage and we have our physical ancestral lineage. So our ancestral lineage, that's your biological lineage, your family members and their family members, and so on, back and forth, back and back, further back, back in your history, okay, your physical history. But then you have your energetic lineage, which is the lineage of your soul. And that is affected, okay, by all of this as well. Now, we're not going to go into it today, but you definitely can have when we have these types of issues going on in the world, it's because there's a massive acceleration of planetary evolution, okay, and energetic evolution. People are leaving the planet so that we can advance the planet. There's a lot going on in that direction. But when it comes to you personally and your money flows, what we're talking about for now, you can also physically inherit your what you've received. You can physically inherit how your money flows, what anxieties you have about money, what kind of stress you have about money, what types of hindrances that you have when it comes to money. You can inherit that. So, and sometimes you can inherit it in a good way. People put down the Kardashians and all the money that they have, but one of the reasons why Kim Kardashian has so much money is because she grew up in money. So there wasn't that whole stage where she had to learn to accept it and receive it and trust and clear. She grew up riding around in Rolls Royces with her father and whatever. She grew up in Beverly Hills. So these kids, there's an assumption. It's their norm. It's not something they have to aspire to or learn how to receive. Okay, so that's why you'll see somebody like that who kind of inherits that sort of entitlement to riches, right? Then there's other ones who have people who have shamed and blamed them all their lives and or have had chronic money issues for generations, right? And then you inherit that. So there's all sorts of T. Harv Eker actually is one of the best I've seen. He's a prosperity consciousness guide, T. Harv Eker, and he has Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, I think it is, and that he talks a lot about that family inheritance of your money consciousness, and he talks about it in a physical way. Today we're going to be working on it from a more of an energetic perspective, but this is something that's very prevalent. So when you work in the Akashic Records, which is the record of your soul, and also the record of group, of everybody has a record. So when we do a group healing, what we're really looking at is taking all of the records who are part of the group of people who will be listening to this as a podcast or who are listening to this live, and they'll be opened up kind of simultaneously, and there's a basic healing. It's not going to go into every inherited thing you have. It's not going to clear, that's something that, you probably have to do on a more personal level. But for us as a group, if you're here listening to this, or if you're listening to this in the archives, which I know we have thousands of people who do that, you will receive this, okay? And you will receive what we're looking for from this healing today is to lift the pressure. You know, it's kind of like to let some of the steam out of the pressure cooker and to give you some ease in how you're metabolizing what's happening around the world so that you can have an easier time of staying in flow in your own life. And one of the other big points that they want me to make, now my computer is all up, Sam. Now I have everything. I have my board. I have everything in front of me. Okay, 21 minutes. So anyway, when the next thing that we want to think about, though, when we have this, we're taking off the steam of the pressure cooker, but now we want you to be able to move forward and recognize what's yours and what you might be perceiving from the group. Because when I was having my meltdowns, and, I'm like you guys, I'm like everybody else, and it's actually even worse for me because I am so intuitive, and that never turns off. I can temper it for sure, I don't go to dinner parties and read everybody in the room or anything like that, but when it comes to something big like this, these shootings and all, my energy just, I get so, there's this huge crescendo of group consciousness. There's a thing that's going on right now that it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a psychic to be stressed out by the energy and to feel it, just to feel it, like palpably feel it. So when you are like kind of a psychic antenna by trade, it's even worse. So when I was going through my little overwhelm meltdown, what was amazing was I had like so many people write and say they were going through the same thing. And then when we're doing this activation and this clearing today, what I want to help you to do is to be able to recognize what's yours and what's not. Because at the end of the day, if I look at me just as me, I'm okay. I know how to protect myself. I'm prudent. I'm from New York. We always know what's going on around us 360. We don't walk around asleep in New York. It's just, we have a good sixth sense. There's a street smartness that you get when you've lived in an urban, where you've lived in that kind of an environment. Even though I lived on Long Island, you still learn. You're in and out of New York City a lot. You learn. You don't walk around with your eyes closed in New York. But what I want for you guys is to be able to discern, okay, what's me and my own feelings, and then what's me just picking up as a psychic antenna for everybody else. Am I on this group? Am I getting caught up in this kind of group tidal wave of anxiety? That's when you have to set up your energetic boundary. And this clearing today that we're going to do is going to help that, to set up those energetic boundaries, just to get you kind of like, framed out so that you're not just being slaughtered by, like a sponge to every single blip in the Richter scale. Okay, so now once you do this, you have to keep yourself that the key to money magnetism, okay, especially in times like these, is to keep yourself very focused and to really kind of know yourself and know what it is you want to achieve and accomplish, and to keep yourself as far out of judgment as you possibly can. Because when you judge everyone else, you shut down the doors to receive. And more so than ever in history, our grid, you hear me talk about this a lot, the energetic grid that we're all a part of is hypersensitive. So any kind of judgment that goes on the grid now amplifies hundreds of times. And it creates barriers for you to receive what you're desiring, okay? And that's where I wanted to, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this call tonight this way. So we're going to, I want you to chew on that. I want you to think about that. We're going to drop some walls, not the walls that keep you safe, okay? So you're going to have a heightened sense of awareness so that you're safe, but we're also going to drop those walls of defensiveness that really get you into a block where your own resources get sort of caught up in it, if that makes sense. Okay? So, let me look at the time here. All right, let's take a couple of calls. Sam, let's do some calls, and then we'll get into our little clearing. If you'd like to call in and ask a question, now is the time to do it. And if you're waiting on the phone and you're on a lot of my shows, and you know that I usually am doing these about 15 minutes later than I am now, come back to the phone. So if I open the lines, we can grab you. And the first person, and if you want to call in, is 347-215-9485. Okay, so the first person is Jody in Portland. Hi, Jody.
Hi, Mari. Thank you for the show.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming on. What's your question?
Well, it just seems like everything, people, culture is too materially focused, period. And I've noticed it in the spirituality world, too, I feel like. So it seems like there are two things going on at the same time. I'm just wondering what you think. It's almost like we're not heading in the right direction.
You know, I think it's an interesting thing that you say that. I think when people feel energetically out of control, they have a tendency to really bite down into physicality. And when you fill your life up with a lot of stuff, you feel safer because it's concrete. You know, you can have control over the car in your garage or the, fur on your back and that type of thing. Mm-hmm. That's one aspect. But I also think that abundance and having a lot of stuff is great if you're doing it for the right, if you have it for the right reasons. If you're doing it to define who you are, then that's one thing. That's probably not so good. But I don't ever want to vilify wealth or material things because we're here in a physical world to enjoy physicality and, every luxury you want, go ahead. By all means, enjoy it. But really genuinely enjoy it. Not necessarily define yourself by it. So I don't know that but I understand what you're saying, and I do think that we're being bombarded. I think what we're being bombarded by is advertising, and that there's this velocity because the communication system has changed so much, and the internet has become, just almost unbearable because there's just so much going on. There's a lot more opportunity, right? There's a lot more opportunity for people to self-publish. There's a lot more opportunity for people to create music and distribute themselves, whatever it's music, book, YouTube, whatever. And there's a lot more wealth than ever in history because of that. So you're seeing a lot more people pushing and advertising because they want a piece of that pie, and it gets very, very, very overwhelming, So yes. I think what we're really having is a communication evolution, and there's, it's kind of like the gold rush. It was like somebody discovered gold, and then everybody got their covered wagons and their horses to get over to California and get some of that gold, and it's just total chaos. Right now, they figured out how to bring some of the gold to, like, Louisiana and New York and, other places. They don't have to go to California just for the gold, You probably will find more of it in other places. So I think right now what we're going through is a big, chaotic, uncomfortable evolution. It's like a punch board, like a gymnastic punch board on a vault. So, did you have a?
So I'm seeing an additional thing. Like there's still something like this insatiable need for something, hunger for some people are trying to satisfy either materially or in another way by something else. It doesn't even have to be materially. I just feel like there's this underlying
it's
thing
called
that's not being
internal power.
named.
It's finding your inner God. It's finding who you are. It's finding where your power source is. Because what happens is when you don't know, and I was going to save this for another show, but it's just very interesting that you brought it up. When you don't know who God is for yourself, you don't know what that energy is within yourself, your own personal power, your own energetic divine power. What happens is you plug into all these other things and try to control all these other things, but it's empty. It's like trying to get nutrition from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's, so, you know, and all of this is calling us forward to start asking the big question, why, God? Why is this happening? Who am I? What am I doing here? All of those awakening questions are being asked by the masses. The only way that we get the masses to wake up is to have big, huge, catastrophic craziness going on, because now instead of it just being that small, 10% of people studying the spiritual, blah, 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 now you're getting pretty much everybody saying, whoa, wait. They're bombing my house. Wait, they're shooting my kids. Oh, my gosh, I can't go to the movies because I got to watch where the exits are because I might get sprayed with bull. They're going to Paris. I was going to go get engaged, and now they're shooting people in Paris. All these places that they feel were invincible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I just frightened seeing people like being reactive also instead of going to that place that you mentioned of inside and being in that I actually don't know. I have no idea where that place is, but that's what I need to look for, and it's just scary seeing all the reaction, like for a false sense of safety, and that gets scary.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. Say this again.
Oh, yeah, just how people are becoming so reactive instead of staying in that place of not knowing or searching within, just seeing the reactivity going on, and that's overwhelming too. Yeah,
there is a lot of
overwhelming. Threatening.
The way that you can, I'm going to have to get on to the next person. I love this discussion though, but the way that you can handle that for yourself though, is to start to ask us to stay. This is a bad way of saying it, but stay in your lane when it comes to. There's two lanes, okay? So there's the lane of you, and then there's the lane of the group consciousness at large. And, of course, we all want to help our cause. You're going to pick whichever piece of the cause you feel you can contribute to, whether it's, helping the animals or, speaking up on gun control or whatever it is that you feel where you feel a sense of passion and a sense of power to be able to contribute. Maybe it's a political campaign. Maybe it's writing a letter, whatever. But it's also important for you to have your own personal regimen for self-care, energetic self-care, okay? Your own way of personally customizing a way that you center yourself so that you feel safe and that you feel connected, and finding out and literally asking yourself, who is God to me? What is that power that expands beyond my physicality that I can tune into and commune with and be so that I feel that sense of stability and safety within myself, as opposed to needing the President of the United States to make me feel safe, or the Republicans or the Democrats or the NRA or the agencies that people are trying to point fingers at. They're not taking care of us. They're not taking care of us. Oh, it's all his fault. Oh, he shouldn't have been there. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
No one, President Obama is not going to be in CVS with you if some shooter comes in and says, okay, you're buying your Tylenol. Oh, here's a guy with an AK-47. Okay, where's Obama? I mean, regardless of if there's a bad guy, there's a bad guy, So the point is that, and I hate to be so morbid and down in the trenches with this, but it's real.
Yeah. Yep.
It's real, and maybe it's that how do you feel safe? Maybe it's that you feel safe because you've taken a self-defense class, or maybe you feel safe because you just made a choice that, you know what, I am walking in light, I am safe, and I'm going to just filter this, and I'm going to focus on my work, my family, my this. Everybody has their way. But I think what's really important is to find your own personal divinity, and that's what we're all being called for. Because when we all plugged into our true center of power, which is our own divine self, 98% of this would go away. Because if you look at it, everybody's looking for somebody who feels more powerful with guns versus somebody who feels more powerful with a law that doesn't have guns. That somebody with this political party. Everybody's looking for a point of power to feel safe.
Right.
We're all looking in the wrong places because we're looking outside of ourselves. And And you have to really look into yourself as your primary point of focus. Then, of course, yes, then you're going to vote in your various agencies and whatever that can sort of help the group at large. But that I think we're all being drawn back to ourselves.
Yeah. And the two lanes, like
person.
you said, doing two things at once, like ourselves and the group.
Yep.
It sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you.
No, you're so welcome. And thanks for listening, and thanks for calling in. I really enjoyed our little chat.
Thank you.
Have a great night, Jody. Take care. Okay, so next we have Greg in Pennsylvania. Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
What's
How
your
are
question?
you?
I'm good.
Yeah, you talked about a lot of things that I was going through. Probably 2 to 3 months ago, it was like I was being pulled into group consciousness, and there wasn't too much I could do about it. I remember even trying to fight it, and going through that, I would even hear a voice every once in a while that it didn't really have anything to do with me. And that kind of, I don't know if that made it better or worse.
Yeah.
You know? And so anyway, I hit like rock bottom. I mean, I could feel fear, depression, all kinds of stuff. It was like, because it's like you weren't in control of your own energy, your own mind, your own body.
Right.
Well, anyway, I've been having a complete turnaround lately. It led me to, a lot of it had to do with local consciousness. I could actually even, it was like I was being pulled into other people's problems. Like I would raise my energy a little bit and then get pulled, like, hey, since you got this extra energy, can you do this for me? And I would feel all these incoming energies. So, you know, little by little, I started to look and see what was available online because I didn't want to travel place to place running for help.
Right.
You know, you want to bring that energy into your body, into your home, not scattered. But I first got involved with a couple ongoing prayer conference calls, and I could feel the energy starting to shift. And then I just kept researching until I found some group clearings through conference calls. And it's just little by little, I've increased it to where I've been in regular contact with group activities, you know, usually through conference calls that have to do with people either clearing their space or accessing the power within and making decrees and things like that. And I've had I've still got more to go because I've only just begun, but the stability has greatly increased. And it's fairly convenient because I can do it through the phone.
Right.
But I was
right. Well, good. You're finding your path. You know.
Yeah. As far as the reading goes, though, I was just seeing if you had anything to add as far as any additional direction. But I think it's coming. I can feel the inner power becoming more alive, rather than me being pulled out of myself.
Yeah, no, it feels like you're really on the right track, and it feels like you're going to get more clarity as you go, and I think that what you've come on the show for is to help everyone who's listening in to see that, you know, a lot of times we try to peg one thing, you know, my husband, you know, if he just would, you know, do this for me, then I would feel better. Or you know, like I was talking earlier, the political candidate, if I just had, you know, $1 million, everything would be fixed. And it's not a quick fix. It's more of an exploration. It's a personal exploration. And creating your own recipe, it's like creating your own personal recipe for energetic self-care.
Exactly.
And that's essentially what you're doing. And the empowerment that comes from that, when you can right yourself, it's like a cat jumping off a roof, right? They fall, but they right themselves in the air so they land on their feet. And
exactly.
And that's where you're at, and that's where sensitive light workers who are really being called forward now, because we're being here feeling it more intensely because we're here to help the masses to metabolize it. Okay.
And when you're in,
go ahead.
I just say when you're empathic, what I found though is people feel it works against them, but the message I was getting in the spirit, and it took a long time to figure out how to do it, is we need a coach that tells us or that helps enforce us to get inside ourselves and clear our own space. We need that kind of encouragement because other people are tuning into the fact that we can help them, and they're trying to pull us out of ourselves to be what they need without realizing it. And whenever you get a good coach that's helping you ground yourself, that sensitivity will actually work for you and benefit you. And you'll just get stronger and stronger as opposed to feeling weak. So,
and you know, that coach can be something as simple as journaling with your own guides to, you know, a mentor, like a physical person, you know, helping you. But I think it's really important to always know to keep your own power, even if you have a coach, and that the coach is there for some
to help you get in
guideposts,
your own
but
power,
not necessarily to have every answer, you know. I'm going to have to jump to the next person, but Greg, thanks for your contribution tonight. That was awesome, and I so appreciate you calling in, and I'm really excited that you're really stepping forward on your path and feeling more confident and more, you know, more organized in your energy and your thoughts, and it feels like you're on your way. So thank you so much for your contribution tonight.
Bless you.
Bless you too. Take care. Okay, next we have Stephanie in Kentucky. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello.
Hello. What's your question?
My question, this whole show has kind of been spot on for my question, which is about getting money issues from your family. And I think at this point that mine are almost more lateral than ancestral because I keep going, okay, I've gotten rid of that. And then it comes back. And I just, you know, I guess I'm having trouble keeping that level of, you know, my attitudes towards money versus what I'm taking on from other people.
Okay, so the question is,
I'm not sure how to keep myself, I don't want to say insulated, I don't want to cut myself off, but, you know, how to keep my attitudes toward money from being constantly reaffected by the family.
Where's your point of power? Where's your point of power? Your personal power? Is the money the power, or is your energy the power?
Well, I mean, I think it's my energy, but circumstances keep proving me wrong.
Answer. Well, no, it's not proving you wrong. That's the right answer, but you're operating from the opposite. Okay, so intellectually, you kind of know, okay, I have to find that, you know, force within that I can lean into, that I can fully trust, and yet you're still feeling like when you get into the nitty-gritty of the day-to-day, and whatever people that are around you, you're still dealing with that kind of, oh gosh, you know, I don't feel like I have control. So I think you're
and when you said trust, that was more resonant than I thought it would be. So
trusting your own inner voice, trusting the timing too. Divine timing is really hard. You feel like you're being pressured by all kinds of bills and all kinds of demands, and you're trying to be patient for the universe to help you, and blah 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 blah. But just recognize that the universe is really not outside of you. This is the big lesson. The universe is within you. It's not a matter of your outside circumstances dictating to you whether you're doing good or not internally. It's a matter of you choosing your focus and focusing on what it is you're desiring, and really understand that whatever you're seeing in your day-to-day right now with your money flows, with other people, is the manifestation of 30 to 60 days ago and what your dominant thoughts were.
Oh, okay.
So what you're really doing is just it's kind of like a garden hose that's been sitting on the side of the house for the winter, and when you turn on the warm water in the spring, the cold water has to run out first before you feel the warm water, right? So now that you're like kind of more empowered and you're really thinking about this and like trying to sort of dig in and work with this, you know, these concepts and this energy, what you're feeling when you're seeing still, you know, issues, let's say with bills or debt or family members or friends or whatever it is you're dealing with, that's just the old water running out of the hose, and you're not necessarily seeing the results of your true work yet because you're getting rid of, you know. So that should hopefully help you a little bit as far as not getting down on yourself. And what's really important is you cannot use your external circumstances and other people's reactions as your judgment of how well you're doing. I know it sounds counterintuitive to say that. And everybody says, oh, look at your life, and then you know what your thoughts are and all that.
Yeah.
But really what it is recognizing that what you're doing when you do that is you're living your life from the outside in. You're letting the outside dictate, oh my God, look at this. I'm trying to control. I'm trying to make it work. Oh my gosh, there's still chaos. Oh my gosh, I must be chaotic. And then you sort of fall into that pattern. And then the focus is on the outside, and you're watching the outside go, and then you're focusing more on it and like trying to control it, and that makes it worse. What you have to do is kind of, for you, my advice would be to find your own inner sanctum. So kind of like perceiving yourself in a cave, and there's a big storm going around, but you're in this little cave. And you can surround yourself with angels, fairies, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And I want you to really find that, little quiet pocket within the storm and focus on what it is you want to create, and only on that. And then when you're dealing with the day-to-day stuff, if you can come back to that same, because when you get into that little cave, that's where your God is. That's who you are. That, there's going to be a whole other show I do that called You Are God, but I've been kind of waiting because I want to just like blow people's head off their shoulders. But when you get into that zone, though, and you recognize that's the truth, then it's like plugging your blender into the power source in the wall instead of into the toaster. You have to plug into the right power source. If you're constantly plugging yourself into what's going on in your outside life, you're not going to get anywhere. So even though you're seeing it and you can allow it, it's kind of like okay, so here's a great analogy.
So it's just
you're going to the mall and there's a crowd, but you want a blue blouse. But there's a crowd, but you have your mind focused on finding this blue blouse. But this crowd is all over the place. They're running to the food court. The kids are all over the place. Santa Claus, they have the lines. The kids are crying, screaming. There's little elves running around. You want the blue blouse. So you're focused on getting that blue blouse. And you don't care which stores you have to go to get the blue blouse. Maybe you even have a map. I'm going to go to Macy's. I'm going to go to Kohl. I'm going to go to these different, Saks Fifth Avenue, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you're going to get that blue blouse, right? But there's all kinds of chaos going around. There's strollers. There's hot dogs, there's sales, there's vacuum cleaners, but you're focused on the blue belt. That's how you have to be with your own personal goals. Okay? Yes,
so
you're going to have chaos in your day-to-day.
The habitual kind of thing. Like I get that, I'm sources within me, but then that slides. Like during, I get it euphorically sometimes.
How about, the sources within
it's just returning
you is
to
really
that
kind of
focus.
not true. The source is within you is really not true as much as you are source.
Right.
So there's no separation between you and source, which is kind of scary when you think, oh my God, I do everything wrong, and if I'm source, I'm screwed. Oh my God. I know people think that way. I mean, I've said this to my
Who let me be an adult?
Even. You're killing me, No, but the point is that when you do turn into that strength, okay? When you turn into that strength, you'll be amazed at how everything else, that blue blouse, shows up. It shows up. You don't even have to go from store to store to store. I remember when I had to do the photo shoot for my book cover, and I was, traumatized. I hadn't done a professional shoot in a long time, and I literally said, okay, I'm going to go into this huge mall. It's, it's like the size of a football field. California's horrible with these things. And I'm not in my old town where I knew my exact stores and where I get what they have and all that. I was kind of like, oh my God. And I just said to myself, I said to my that God self, I said, bring me to the store to the exact shirt that I need. It's going to be the money shot for this cover. And make it known. Make it light up before me and let it be within the first three things that I see. And I programmed it. And so help me God, when I got off the escalator at that store, the very first blouse I saw was the money shot blouse. That was it.
Awesome.
And I went and spent an hour because, I had to, just in case, because that's what humans do. It's like, okay, the guys give you the damn blouse, but you're going to spend another 2 hours trying on 30 of them. right?
Exactly.
So here's the thing, and then I'm going to jump into our meditation. Here's the thing that I want you to try. When I was walking on the beach today, the guide said, here's a message that we want you to give to everybody on the show. And I said, okay. And that message is, please stop asking to be cured of doubt. Please stop asking to release doubt. And please start asking instead to be filled with trust.
That is, yeah.
Okay. Got it?
I've got it. I wrote it down.
Please stop asking to release doubt. Please stop asking to release doubt. That's what they're saying. Please stop asking us to clear you of doubt and fear and stress and anger, and ask us to fill you up with the good stuff.
Because that's where you focus. If you keep saying, relieve me of doubt, you keep bringing that up.
Yeah, it just keeps your focus on that. And when they said that to me, I was like, now that's an epiphany, Like,
yeah,
wow,
it's like, oh, but of course.
Yeah, fill me up with trust. Please fill me up with trust. Fill me up with trust.
I'm gonna put that on my bathroom mirror.
Awesome. Put it on all your mirrors. Put
there you go.
On the dashboard. Fill me with trust. Please fill me with trust.
Get a tattoo.
And you can do this with fill me with love, fill me with knowing, fill me. So many of our modalities that we have, and I'm not putting them down, but we have gotten into sort of this chronic, there's something wrong with me and I have to clear it before I can have anything state. It's kind of like when everybody said, fat is bad and we should not take fat out of every food. Now everybody ends up diabetic 10 years later. Like now it's like everybody is so freaked out about clearing themselves that they don't receive anything anymore because they're so busy getting rid of stuff all the time. If you're a light worker listening to the show and you've done any semblance of clearing work, you're probably pretty good with the clear part and need to add part.
That makes sense.
If you're not willing to receive things because you're filled up with, all of that, yes, so clearing is good. It's a part of it, but it's not all of it. And the only way you have anything to give anybody else is if your cup is running over, not running on empty. So if you allow yourself to be filled up with trust, love, abundance, prosperity, ask to fill her up. Fill her up in your prayer work. Ask to fill her up. Fill me with abundance. Fill me with trust. Fill me with knowing. Fill me with wisdom. Instead of, help me to figure out what's wrong with me. Oh, my God, instead of that. Okay, I found out from Mari this is wrong with me, but then I found out from Dane that's wrong with me. And then I found out from Jared, oh, my God, I'm really screwed. No. No.
The panic sets in. Yeah.
The panic sets in, and you can never go forward because you're so busy trying to clear everything. It's kind of clear and fill, and clear and fill, and clear and fill. But the fill part, we got to focus on the fill part. And I hope that's helpful. I'm going to have to jump off because we have to get into our little clearing activation. It's going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but that's what they call it. Everything is relative. It's always yes and yes. All right, my doll. Have a great, great night. Thanks for calling in, and thanks for such a great conversation. Okay.
Yes,
take care,
thank
Stephanie.
you.
Okay,
Bye.
take care. Bye. Okay, so off we go now into our activation. And what I'd like you to do, I'm going to just be silent for a minute to open the records. I'm not going to do the whole prayer on the air. I'm just going to be silent for about a few seconds, and then you'll hear me start to speak. And what I'd like you to do as you're listening to this is to just take a few nice deep breaths and just ask in your own mind and in your own heart to connect with your own record, with your own Akashic Records, and to be able to receive what I'm talking about within, the group, And then at the end, I'll take another little moment of silence to close the records, because with the records, we have to open them and then we have to close them. This is going to be short. This is not, not a long, drawn-out thing, because the records are very, very efficient. And so, once we do that, then we'll go ahead and wrap the show. All right? So just close your eyes. You can take a nice deep breath. And Sam, if you could put on the meditation music, that would be great. And then I'm just going to do this little quick, quiet prayer, and then I'll start speaking. All right? So the records are now open. Take a nice deep breath. And as you inhale, say, I am. And as you exhale, relaxed. As you inhale, I am. And as you exhale, open. Taking deep breaths, just feeling open to receive and willing to accept the healing, the clearing, the wisdom, the knowing from the masters, the teachers, and the loved ones within the Akashic Records. We open our hearts and our minds and our lives to be healed as a group of light workers, as a group of students, as a group of leaders, so that we may easily metabolize all of the swirling energies, all of the evolution that's taking place around us and within us. Releasing the need to clear, to pass judgment, to force ourselves into any specific doctrine. We're open to allow, to trust, to know, and to receive the healings from any of our lineages, both energetic and ancestral, that will open the gateways, give us alignment, and connect us to the highest version of our God self. We now activate our connection with our God self, with our divinity, with our biggest and highest connection to our own personal power. Recognizing that every being on the planet has the same power. So we don't have to worry about there not being enough. Every person on the planet, every being has this connection. So as you focus on your own life, you're not being selfish. You're making a contribution and honoring that power, which is magnifying it out to everyone else who doesn't know anything about this. Your cup is now filled. Your cup is now filled. Your cup is now filled. And you may be seeing an image of a golden chalice, a golden cup, filled to the brim and overflowing with abundance. Beautiful gold, silver, platinum liquid. It could be coins. It could be bills. As the money flow for you is representative of the energy, of your trust, of your knowing, of your connection, of your willingness to honor your voice, your truth, your passion. And what about action? In the coming days and weeks after this, you will start to get very clear signs of your next steps, clear signs of your next direction. In the records, a big white laser of light is healing everyone's blocks. So you don't need to worry about how blocked and where you got it from or all of the things that are, quote, wrong with you, unquote. You're being relieved. Relieved of the burdens of the unknown. And open to receive more in your cup. Asking for more trust. For more knowing. For more clarity. For more compassion. Fill you up. Fill you up. And now, as you are filled and overflowing with this new energy, or more of the energy that you already had that was working for you, this is magnetic to more. Focusing on filling up, on receiving more, on allowing more, as opposed to release, 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 let go, clear, get rid of. You're good in that area. This wouldn't be coming up in the records if you weren't. You're doing your job, and you're commended for that. And now, it's about filling up and magnetically receiving more. Taking a nice deep breath. Seeing your cup running over. And feeling the emotion of what that feels like. The lightness. The relief. The trust. The safety. And the knowing that unless you choose, the flow will not stop. Taking a nice deep breath. And so it is. And so the records are now closed. And Sam, we can stop the music. And I hope you guys have enjoyed that. That is a very powerful process, especially when it's amplified in the records like it was, especially by a whole group, which will be thousands of people. So that will magnetically also resonate on the grid. And others will receive that benefit as well, even if they don't know anything about this show or about the records or about any of the stuff that we're talking about. Really, the 20% that make 88%, the rest of the 100% work. And so I would just like to say to rest tonight, to to sort of just take it in over the next few days. You might feel, kind of like things don't make sense maybe a little bit, or they make more sense. The not making sense part is just that you've shifted your energy and you've probably gone into another altitude, and sometimes you have to get your bearings, that new frequency, especially when you do an activation like that. But really focus on filling up, okay? It's the holiday season when you're expected to give, but that doesn't mean that you're not being given to by the energies. That doesn't turn off because our holiday system says it should, and we should only be giving, okay? It's about magnetically receiving at this point, and of course, taking action, which I know you know how to do. Okay, so also I just want to say, if you'd like to do a private session with me on the Akashic Money Magnetism system for all the inherited stuff and any deeper conversations, I added some time to my schedule for December and early January for 2016 Money Magnetism sessions in the Akashic Records on a one-on-one basis. So you can go to the ahaway.com and look at the readings there. You can just, if you click on the Akashic Records reading, you'll see the current price, $140 for the 30 minutes. No pressure or anything like that. It's there. You'll probably see emails. And but if you want more of this type of work, you feel like you'd like to get into more of a deeper conversation in your own specific records, that would be awesome. And otherwise, I'd like to say just have an amazing, amazing week. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same place. And we will finish with my motto, which is, you truly can have exactly what you want. You absolutely deserve it too. And in this new energy, anything is possible. Take it easy, everybody. Take care.
You've been listening to the Aha Moments radio show with your host, Mari. Be sure to visit her blog and website at www.ahamomentsinc.com. That's AHA, moments with an S, inc.com. Also join Mari on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ahamomentsinc and Twitter at twitter.com/ahamoments. We can't wait to see you there.